at Huntington Beach State Park, which is just south of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is one of my favorite places in the state.
We had a group of Governor's School students travel out here today to work on the Seed to Shoreline project.
Yeah, they're planting a type of grass called Spartina, which helps protect the shoreline.
And even removes pollutants from the water.
Yes, we've been following this project for quite a while. Let's take a look.
The project began in December with my marine biology class, where we went to the Grice Marine Lab, which is part of the Fort Johnson complex, where NOAA, also the South Carolina DNR, as well as the College of Charleston all work together. The students went and collected seeds right along the Charleston Harbor. They went into their waders and went out in the cold December water and harvested over 20,000 seeds. So these seeds were placed in water and put in Ziploc baggies where they stayed throughout our winter break in a refrigerator. And that represented vernalization, which is winter time for the seeds. Following our holiday break, I took these seeds out and I put them into a 70-degree incubator to trick them into springtime and beginning to develop. From there, we were able to take these plants as very small seedlings and plant them into pots, keep them in the classroom for a few weeks before we could get our greenhouses set up. And now we're just watching them grow and patiently waiting for them to get big enough to transplant following spring break.
So basically, after we collected the seeds, we need to actually be able to propagate them before planting them. And so in order to do that, we have to sort of simulate what it's like at the salt marsh. And so this is a good example of it. We have to basically flood these little carriers that all these pots are in so that they get a ton of water. And so this is just to prevent any sort of water shock from them entering, just a potentially very dry pot in your house into the salt marshes, which are obviously covered in water.
What I like about the Seed to Shoreline project is that it really helps us get hands-on with restoring an environment, specifically salt marshes in South Carolina, which are really important for the U.S. because they stop a lot of sea level rise, and that's really important so that things don't flood over. And last semester we took a whole bunch of Spartina marsh and we took a whole bunch of seeds and we planted them. And then this semester we're going to go back and plant them all so that they can restore their population in the salt marsh.
We are going to head down to Huntington Beach State Park, and we are going to plant these in an area where the park officials have noticed some marsh loss as an attempt to increase these plants, not only for their ability to trap soil and the pluff mud, also serving as resources for some of the native animals, and serving to trap carbon. So it's called blue carbon, and that is taking away a little bit of the atmospheric carbon.
So what makes Huntington Beach State Park special? Well, we have a really nice mix of nature and a variety of ecosystems and an abundance of wildlife. And not just wildlife that is easily observed by the public. We do find that a lot of our animals, alligators, wading birds, things like that, tend to be very acclimated to people as far as not being skittish and therefore being easily observed. We're probably the best place in the Carolinas to observe alligators in the wild, for example. But in addition to the nature aspects, we also have a National Historic Landmark, Atalaya, former winter home of Archer and Anna Hyatt Huntington, who you've probably already guessed, those are the folks that the park is named after. They're also the people who built Brook Green Gardens right across the street. We also do a lot of programming for school groups. And one of the things we try to incorporate whenever possible when working with school groups is we try to incorporate some kind of conservation project, service learning project, to get the students actively engaged in protecting nature. So, for example, today we had students working with Seeds to Shoreline project out in the salt marsh, planting Spartina grass plants that they had carefully grown from seeds in greenhouses at their school.
At GSSM, we conduct real-world research. The Governor's School for Science and Math, their participation in the From Seeds to Shoreline program allows them to take the concepts that they're learning in the classroom with their excellent instruction and applying it out here in the field. They're able to conduct transects looking at different species abundance and diversity. They're also able to study concepts like climate change and other issues that are impacting our salt marsh. My favorite part of this program, there are many things. I love being outside. This gives me an opportunity to do what I love to do, which is teach, and teach outside on habitats that I grew up around. I get to teach about the beaches, the salt marshes, and other ecosystems that I grew up exploring as a child. That passion never went away, and so I'm able to now use that as part of my career. So I do feel like this is one of the best parts of my job, is this program, and I love turning people on to this ecosystem that I love.
I think that this class will help me in the future because it will help set a groundwork for what I want to do in my future career. So I'm personally interested in marine biology and I like the botanical background. So classes such as marine biology and botany have helped me realize what exactly I like or dislike about these disciplines.
I think this project will help me in the future because I'm going into biochemistry myself. So this is giving me a lot of hands-on field work experience, and this definitely helped build off my summer research where I was doing field work as well, in marine areas, because I'm going to minor in marine biology. So both of her classes are definitely helping me build on skills that'll help me in college.
So to see a project for some of these students who were in my marine biology class, from seed collection to planting, that matters for them. And then they can go on and they can talk to not only friends who live along the coast, but even friends in the upstate to say how they have contributed to restoring at least this one component of a marsh.
Well, thank you for joining us for this last episode of Season 1. We really learned a lot.
I hope that y'all learned a lot as well. We'll be back in September.
And remember, until next time,
Keep learning and growing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.